All right, kids, we're going to watch the worst, and this is a proven fact. Elliot Maltby has won the worst CIG developer award at CIG 2 years running, as awarded here in our Twitch chat. Okay? So we're going to watch him develop on SCL today. He's a good friend of the show, but the truth's the truth. Right? So we're going to watch him develop some mission or something on SCL today. I don't know. It's SCL.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Star Citizen Live.
You can even see it on Jared's face. He doesn't want to be there. He just wants to be playing Baldur's Gate. Nobody cares. None of us want to be here. I'm just kidding. I love Elliot, and I hope this will be a lot of fun. Elliot can talk, and I think Elliot will give a lot.
Gamedev, mission maker. I don't know.
I think Elliot will give us a lot.
There, How you doing?
I'm good. I'm
Jared. I'm your humble sidekick this week. With the Gamedev shows, we usually kind of turn over the driving force to one of our developers who takes you through a bit of their process over the next hour. This week,
Elliot's forming emotes, dude.
Who are you again?
Elliot Maltby.
We have Elliot Maltby, and what do you do?
I make missions. Well, I'm a lead designer now, so not as much missions anymore, but I still make missions.
What he said. We are going to attempt something that every single person told me was probably a bad idea.
Including me.
We are going to attempt to make a mission from scratch using the mission verb, Star Words, Data Forge,
so stupid.
Robo-Hesse, all the cool
This
tools.
is stupid because it takes them a whole quarter to make like 2 or 3 missions
that are used, and see if we can't make a mission and even get inside and play it for a little bit within the span of an hour.
Everybody tells you it's a bad idea, but Jared does it anyway. Classic.
Can it be done?
I think so. Finally, I'll be able to prove the community wrong because everyone says I can't make missions. We'll find out.
Right. So at this point in the show, I'm going to turn it over to, who are you again?
Oh my God, Elliot Maltby.
Elliot Maltby. And he's going to take you through a little bit of the rough flow, introduce you to the idea of it. So Elliot, that's your camera right there.
The
Let's
rough
go to that
flow.
camera. So,
Hi.
So sit back a little bit. Frame. There you go. There you go. Good framing. So tell them what we're doing today.
So, today
we're wasting all the time we have to make the mission right now.
To be going through a mission. So we have a sort of a rough pitch outline for it. So I am going to be making a prototype experience of the mission where we can play it, see how it feels, see how it plays, and then iterate on it, improve it, and then decide if we want to like wait for more things to come in to make it even better, or if we think it's a good enough experience to put it out and then improve on it as time passes by. So that's pretty much it.
So walk us through. What's the rough flow? What are we aiming to do?
I love how awkward this always is. Elliot has been the least awkward dev on camera I've ever seen up to this point. He seems like in his element right now, I feel like.
Right, so the rough flow is we're doing a subdue and recover mission, which is I go to a location, I knock the AI out, and then I have to go and deliver them. That is the very roughest flow.
That's kind of interesting.
Bob's your uncle.
Simple, right? No.
Okay. So is there any more to explain before we jump into the process?
Yeah, so there's a couple of things that I'm going to try to do. So as people might know, I don't like hand-holding. So there are certain things we do currently in Star Citizen. For example, when you get to the location, we would mark the ship, and then when the AI spawns, we then mark the AI for you to get. Listen, right? It's warm. I've got like a 20-pound light staring at me. So we then mark the AI for you to take out. Now I'm going to try and remove those aspects. So I want to leverage the scanning gameplay. So you actually have to ping, scan, whatever to find the ship. And once it has been detected by your ship, I'll mark it then. And then when you get into the ship, I won't mark the AI directly. I will wait until either they see you or you are within a certain range of them.
Why is he making this so
kind
complicated?
Of like an imperfect solution because it's either I mark them, so you always know where they are and you beeline straight to their location. I do this, but the perfect solution would be, say, FPS scanning, but we don't have that yet. So it's kind of like playing with the mission and it's trying to understand what the end goal of the mission is going to be like when we finished it. That's about it.
All right, so let's start the screen share. Every good mission starts with helpful encouragement from
Luke Presley.
Luke Presley. Yep,
we have
need it.
Luke, so we're already ahead.
Look, he's so
Introduce
proud.
us to our tools. What are we using today?
Cool. Okay, so what the main and biggest tool that a designer uses is
Zoom.
RoboHesse. This is a tool that takes all of our perforce streams and loads them all here. So it's very quick for us to click and go through them. So if I was to click this, it shows other perforce streams and I can just jump between them and I can click, open my tool here, open my tool here, open my tool there. I can do things like I can get a new build. I can have certain files I care about for sync. So for example, like latest
The cats
subsumption
are on the
will
screen right
just
now.
pull my subsumption files. OC and levels will just pull the latest object containers and levels, which obviously helps to speed up testing and gameplay. And then there's the things here to boot the game and things like that. This tool was made by our amazing Jake Mule, well, not ours anymore. And me, Ben Dorsey, and Andrew Hesse helped to design it, and it has saved so many hours, not just on MFT's side, it is a lot of the people in the
thank you so much.
So I'd use this to boot up my tools.
I'm going to mute the
and
alerts,
the tools
though.
I need are things like Subsumption, which is our logic-based editor, which I'll full screen in a minute. Star Words, this thing, which is how we build strings for the game. And last but not least, DataForge. And this is how we build, oh my God, like everything in the game. This is where you build entities, it's where you build missions, it's where you build...
this is where I am.
Everything, pretty much everything that's not a mission.
Now, you skipped over Star Words. It's been a long time since we've talked about Star Words. When you say strings, this is text strings.
Text strings, lock IDs they're called. So it's text that we put in and we put in the game, but it's in this sort of tool here, so people can localize it for other languages. But it's always like linked to one place. It's quite common in the games industry to have this sort of stuff. But this is a really cool interface they've built for us to use it. So. Cool. All right. So first things first. So I talked about the rough flow. So I need to think of a story. Now I have been mulling over a story for a while. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a folder for my story to go into, and this is going to be called Subdue. I can't spell, by the way. And recover. Boom. And then
what are the
when
keys?
It responds already. There we go.
Are those browns?
My PC's not a good
I don't like the way the
PC,
keys sound. They're not very clicky.
So I've opened up the folder for Subdue and Recover. And in here, I'm going to make a bunch of strings. So
they sound so
chunky.
chunky.
I need to make a story. So the story usually consists of three initial strings, which would be the title, the description, and then the from string. I don't need to use the from string because I'm going to use a mission giver that already exists. I'm going to use Ruto. I'm sure many of you know Ruto. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to make, so the lock ID is how we link it. So the English text is the text and the lock ID is how we sort of link it to this. So I'm going to do oh my God, Subdue and Recover underscore title. And what I'm going to do to save myself time is I'm going to copy that so I don't have to retype it. New description. So the title is going to be, which I've already thought of the story. This was I planned the story ready for this because I thought it was good. The title is going to be called A Personal Request.
Okay.
And the description, which I'll open into a big window so everyone can see it, is this. Ruto's asking for help.
I need your
His
help.
Jumptown operation has recently come under attack, and we've been struggling to get the maze to where he needs it to be. A certain pirate, arguably the worst, has been causing havoc and stopping his operatives from extracting it for Ruto. He wants you to hunt and
Bro, we don't need a narrative team. And look at Elliot. Who needs a narrative team?
Bring them down.
Look at this
Bring
guy.
them back to him alive. He wants to punish them and recoup his losses emotionally. And let's see if they can still say all good ships have a name after he's finished with them. So you're going to go to the location. You're going to bring back Void Dude and bring him back alive. And if you complete this, Ruto will expose his other hit list for you to bring in people like Detox, Old Man Johnny Morgan, Blasphemous, and Xperia. So they're all
awesome.
Next up. So
I love that. That's so cool.
Is the story string. Sorry, I'm laughing at my own jokes.
Always a good sign.
There's my story string. Now after this, I have to create a bunch of other strings to do with the actual mission.
We have to recover Pirate Void Dude.
Yeah, actually I can just take it from my document where I planned some of this. So,
Give back to the community. That's awesome, Elliot.
So we've got the title, we've got the description. So we're going to go through little bits of it. So
the thing is this is SCL. This is my place, okay? You guys talk about me there. I'm so happy that it wasn't.
I'm going to just kind of go through.
I'm dead serious about
so
that. It's nice to hear other people get recognized for their hard work.
You have a long objective, a short objective, you have a HUD, and you have a marker. They all have separate strings because we might want to adapt them in different ways to display different things for the player. So what I've done here is I've put, so I've done the subdue and deliver.
I don't know why, because I feel like I know Elliot more than the other devs, but I'm enjoying this even though this is like him typing text into a screen. You know what I mean?
I'm doing the locate part
so
of it.
far.
So this is
I'm already enjoying
found them. This is finding them. This is the HUD section. Now, so what this is on the top of the player screen, it will say locate. And right now on the screen, you'll see a wiggly line and it says mission and brackets target name. It looks very weird. But what this is that is a token. And what a token is that allows us to dynamically pull in data from the live game. So this is how we're able to do things like generate a name randomly as we go along and have it fill in. So this would read locate Void Dude, or it could say locate Burks, or it could say locate Gabs. It could say locate Jared. Like it could pull whatever from our random system. So I'm filling these out. These are the long and short. So the long is what you see in your mode.
Who are those people?
Pull up your arm. The short is what appears when we flash those notifications up to you. Cool.
Yeah, he's making game code sound interesting. Exactly.
That I'm doing here is an objective
He's making
setup.
his job
now, this
seem
one is
fun.
Specifically for how I build the mission.
Right.
Because if I'm thinking about the mission in a theory kind of way, and this is how, when we build missions, we think like this for other designers' sakes. So I go, okay, well, the missions are subdue and deliver. So what is it? I've got to go there. We've got to enter the location. The AI's got to be spawned. Once I've knocked them out, I take them to a location. Oh, that's the delivery module. That's the delivery modular system.
Jared's like, what? Do you breathe?
So this is a part of the delivery modular system.
Jared's thinking about his character in Baldur's Gate 3 right now. He's not paying attention to a single thing anybody is talking about.
That allows me to take the target's name and inject it onto the target. So this will basically say, when you've knocked Void Dude out, it will say deliver Void Dude to
Frank,
wherever.
you were as well, of course.
Cool. Next up, we have the, the way that I'm thinking about doing this is I want to show something cool.
So we can ask questions, Control.
There's a designer on our team called Nick Urko, who...
You can't ask questions, though, when Elliot just... He's like a train you can't stop.
Who's been working on ships, having ships like the 890 Jump, but all have AI on. So we could do things, missions in the future where you just have to go and eliminate a certain person on a ship, or you've got to go into the ship for some reason and we want combat in there. So I'm going to be using that. So I want to name the ship. So I'm going to name the ship All Good Ships, which is just because that's what Void Dude says. Next up, I need to make a few more strings, so I'm just going to spam that button a little bit. Locate and subdue. Right, so then these are the next part. So this is the subdue part of the mission.
So all these strings are the things that break when the servers are bad.
This is the general part of the mission, sorry. This is like the header objective that's going to be go there and take them out. Again, it uses the tokens. So we're going to just drag and drop some of the other ones in there. Some of this I probably won't be. I feel like I should never had dead air, but some of it's going to be because I'm literally, when I'm building this, I'm just sat at my desk with my headphones on quietly. Very quietly. Cool.
Dude,
Okay,
look at Jared's shoes.
Nice. So I think that might be all the strings I was requiring. So I'm going to carry on filling these out. So this is, again, just expanding the story. This is locate and subdue. Come on, Elliot. That's meant to be locate and subdue. I can't spell. All right, English. The target name and deliver their body to the mission destination. That's going to dynamically pull in where we send the player. And we've got the marker. So that is, again, that's the marker that will be on, I don't know, wherever I choose to use it. It could be on the ship. It could be on the AI once you found it. Yeah.
So you could place a marker as simply as typing in one little string. Can we please
the target marker,
markers
so this one
in
is
the
definitely
fucking
gonna be
game?
because I've called it target marker.
For
And then
players
target
to
ship,
place
last
down?
Of all, that is
Please?
the marker, I believe, on the ship that I need.
What is
Yeah, I don't want
preventing
that
that?
string.
I really
cool.
would love
so
to know.
that's pretty much all the string setup. The last thing I need to do is make sure that I can see the strings. We have these labels to where we can say where you can see them.
You go over it?
So I'm gonna
oh,
set
okay. I
them
thought
to
you were
preview.
memeing about just wait like
And
for,
I'd save
for
that.
another
And that is
10
my
years.
that's my strings done and ready to go. So I'm gonna get rid of that now.
And what does the string get you?
It gets us, when we're building the mission, it allows us to see a flow of objectives and see if we're giving enough information. If we're not giving enough information, it lets us check that the sort of the dynamic information that we pass into these strings actually works. A few things like that. Yeah.
Basically all the text that's going to show up on screen for people.
Pretty
Whether
much.
it's a mobiGlas or their visor.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm just hydrating 1 second.
All right,
Okay. Next up, I am going to build.
I'm going to pause this because somebody already sent this to me. Look above my head. I know it might be hard to read, but it says missions. The top mission is cause Mike bugs.
Build the missions. Well, not the missions, the modules. So these are
Yeah,
pieces
somebody
of
showed it
logic,
to me in Discord. They
that
added me just now.
will tie together to make the mission. Now, because we try to think modularly,
I wasn't
I
meant
have to think
see
about
that.
how I'm going to do this. So, because I want to show you the ship thing, an occupied ship, we don't have anything to spawn them yet. So, I'm going to build one. So, I'm going to build it, but it's going to be a module. I'm putting it in the module folder, and that's because it has other use outside of the
Something that runs
mission.
on you and randomly fucks with your
It
hydration or
isn't a
food whenever
mission
you
on
log
its own,
in.
It is purely a piece of logic.
Okay, are you memeing though? Because honestly, I do have random food and drink when I log in. That makes no sense to me. I think it's actually I don't even think he's memeing. I think it's actually real.
That fulfills a function for us. So I'm going to call it occupied ship spawner. So then what happens here is I can go from my...
Hold on. Paul Lee Callan says, can Jared
Thank
look
you,
any
Morph.
more unprofessional? Is that a challenge? I can try. Keep going.
Right, pre-init. Okay. Okay, so when you've made...
I mean, listen, dude, this is the most unserious thing. So why not just go full big dick and just really show how little you care?
You are given an init and an uninit. An init is the initialization of the module, and the uninit is the uninitialization of the module. That's basically,
That is the most UK thing ever. The init and the uninit. Isn't it?
shut down, yes. But we need to inject one more onto here, so I'm going to make a pre-init. A pre-init is the pre-initialization stage. This is where, for example, I would... when SOX came in, server-side object container streaming, it meant that nothing in the world existed, which changed how we built logic, because previously everything was streamed in. So we used to know where everything was. You could be on the complete opposite end of the thing to a pencil, and I knew the pencil was there. Now I don't know anything exists. So I have to tell you to go there so I know it exists. But that means I have to tell my module not to just start up, because without a pre-init, it will just boot up as soon as you accept it, and I don't want that. I want it to boot up when certain conditions are fulfilled. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a input variable. So this is going to be passed into the module by myself or a designer, and the input is going to be of type mission dataset entry. This represents our sorry, I'm thinking while I'm typing. There we go. This represents like our locations in the world. That's the sort of data form we have. So I'm gonna throw on set module location. So this node allows us to tell the pre-init not to fire until the mission location that I pass in has told it it's loaded. So the mission location has like it's assigned to an object container.
This is all the
so
delays
when
that we
object
get.
container is gone, have loaded, this will then go, hey, it's all ready for you, and I can move forward with it.
I endorse
I'm
the
not gonna say
continued
go
bullying of
someplace that doesn't
Elliot.
exist
Keep
yet.
it up, everyone. Worst
So
CIG dev.
what I'm next going to do is I'm going to get that mission locations object container. And I'm going to make so the difference between these two
still
panels,
voting.
this is
3 years running.
I use the word
potentially.
global, but they like restrict the scope in which you can see variables. So this one is the global. So all these variables here for the everything in this column. These variables can be accessed by any of these like scopes.
We'll see how he does here.
Whereas this is restricted only to the pre-init. These are my local variables. So I use these because I will clog up my global variables. If I didn't, I don't want them there. It's more efficient for me to make these ones that kind of just get like yeeted once the whole thing's turned off or has stopped running in this case. So I'm going to make a local reference to the location object container, and then I'm gonna get the object's position because what I'm going to have the designer do is I'm going to have the designer pass me in the ship that they want to spawn occupied.
Okay.
Ooh, pardon me. And then I'm going to spawn it. So I need to know the position so I can sort of anchor that as the root of where I'm going to spawn the AI in this sort of area. So I need to find a local position. So it's going to be location.
These nodes.
Pause, underscore L. Cool. Underscore L is only so like if I'm here not looking here, I can tell where the variable's scope is set, so I can like quickly know if it's used outside of here or not. Request spawns around position. So when I open this is our quick task selector. We also have all of this you can go through and select, but I just happen to know the names of the nodes because I use them on a daily basis.
Oh, this is a Mac.
Right, okay, so next up, I need to make
it?
the data
No.
that the designer is
It's
going
just
to
got
pass
the Mac
to me.
like look to it.
Or I'm going to pass to me. Future Elliot's
Yeah, it's Windows 11 at the bottom.
When they use this. Of type spawn description. A spawn description is, imagine it like a recipe book. It's a recipe book before you
Tony's
bake the
built
cake
the
and
tool
put it in
on
the
his
oven.
Mac.
It's like all the information that it's going to use to build the cake. That's terrible. I'm sorry.
You're doing so good.
I know. Listen, you know what? It's weird as well because I'm a lead, so I have to train people. So you guys, this is what my team get and have to build missions with. So.
How do you join the org? Exclamation point org.
So occupied ships to spawn. So this is going to be that cookbook that I'm given. I'm going to keep saying it. You can all deal with it. And I'm going to then we have the sort of next. Sorry. The next inputs are the position, so that's going to be the root point of where we spawn, and then I have a range and a spread. Range is it takes the point and then it sort of makes a circle at a certain range that's safe, and then spawns it. So mid is like 5k, and I think point is like directly on it. And what it does is it starts at that range. So if I specify mid, it will start from 5k out of that circle and start searching for a safe location so it doesn't spawn into collision and then players can't get it and blah de blah de blah. I'm going to set it to close so it's...
And this way it doesn't always spawn in the exact same spot.
So what happens with this when you spawn NPCs in the elevator that actually spawn into the wall? Huh? Tool doesn't work.
Every single time because that would be incredibly repetitive.
Yes, it allows us to definitely get that sort of element of it feeling somewhat fresh every time you
This
go
is
there.
for
Because
ships?
if you know where everything
well,
is, the
use
mission
this
becomes
tool,
easy.
but for people.
Next up, I need to make a spawn request variable. So I'm going to call this occupied ship underscore SR.
It's only for ships
a
with
spawn
that
request,
attitude.
or this. So the blue input. These blue things are inputs, and the grey thing is an output. So this is going to take this data
Ships will spawn in walls. Ships used to spawn inside asteroids. You guys remember that back in the day?
you're in, and then it's kind of giving me a receipt, and it's
Still
going.
do sometimes.
We'll contact you about your receipt whenever we've done whatever you've asked us to. Sorry, that's terrible. That's even worse. But it basically allows us to get this information back here, so I can tell sort of if certain things have been fulfilled. So, for example, I'm going to make a on ship spawned, and I'm going to also tidy this up because we don't build stuff like that because it looks horrible. Callbacks. I'm going to put it in this folder. Thank you. Cool. And then next up, I'm gonna build the. So now the ship spawned. So I'm like, okay, cool. The ship has spawned. That's great. Now I need to actually spawn the AI on it. So what I'm gonna do is I want to check to see if this is the initial spawn of the ship, which is this thing. And then if it is the initial spawn of the ship, I want to do a lot of setup. I don't want to do it every time because we get this callback whenever the ship or streams back in. So if you go away from it, the ship streams out. When you come back, we need to retell the say it's like a bounty. So you've got your target AI and he's got a bunch of mates. We have to retell his mates to defend their mate, or else they forget. So that's what we have this callback for. It's very useful for that sort of stuff. Next up, I'm going to send an event to a mission instance, and the mission instance is going to be the parent, if I can find it, the parent mission. This is basically because I know this module is going to be called by another module. It means that I need to communicate back to that module to tell it when I've done things. So for example, I'm going to jump and get this modular event. So we build a bunch of events that if we identify that we're sending a lot of events and they're always in the same sort of format, we'll just use a modular event. It's the same as a modular mission, it's just for a modular event.
What's interesting is he's making a mission that we don't currently have right now, right? Which is the mission type that you have to knock somebody out. This will be kind of cool.
On ship, these are things returned to me. So when that callback is fired, so hey, the ship spawned, it will return to me these variables filled in. So it will give me identifier tags. These are tags are placed on the ship so I can identify what it is. The initial spawn boolean, discussed that. The pilot of the ship and the ship itself that has been spawned. So next I'm gonna make sure that I send back that information because future Elliot might need it and also the designer might need it. Cool. Next up, I need to find objects in the ship. So the ship spawned and now I need to spawn AI on the ship. So that means that I need to search the ship for a spawn closet manager. This is so we do a lot of searching via tags because it's very efficient and it's not expensive to search. So I'm going to make a tag search here for the spawn closet. Come on.
Spawn closets, of course, being where NPC ships or fighters or whatnot pop into the universe behind a curtain where they can't be seen usually.
Yeah, and this one specifically is for. So the ship is going to have AI on it. So this one's going to grab the ones that are on the ship directly and then tell them to spawn.
Okay.
So the spawn closet system, even though it's called spawn closet, we don't have to use it like a closet with a door. We can also use it for what we call initial spawns, which is when the location is first loaded in and the player isn't there, we can populate them out and about. Because like if you get to a location and you was to beat the streaming and you just see them all walking out of doors, you're going to be like, well, hold on. So you've just come out because I'm here. So it makes them feel more alive if we can have them already out and trying to find their usables. And
sometimes the curtain is just getting them there before the player is.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Next up, I'm going to return the found objects, which is going to be the
I feel like I've seen that though.
Ships spawn.
You know where it happens, but
closet.
it is where they have a closet. You get that a lot at SPK because you'll kill everyone, and then you'll see them spawn, but they all spawn around the same time, and it's like it is a bit immersion breaking, I guess. I don't know. But what are you supposed to do? You can't do anything else.
How much time do I have left? I'm
30 minutes.
Good, sweetie.
I mean,
are you winning, son?
no, I'm like barely through the first half. You're gonna have to make this a 2-part, Jared. Cool.
Jared would love that because he has no content.
Next up is the loop until. This is basically because there's going to be more than one spawn closet in here. I need to go through each of the spawn closet managers and make sure that I send the request to them. So another variable that I need to create for our designers is an input variable, again of type spawn descriptions, called NPCs to populate ships.
Sometimes you just call it what it is. You know, there's this.
When I was in school, they taught me two of the hardest things in computer science is cache invalidation and naming conventions. And naming conventions.
Naming conventions is the number one.
Yeah.
It's the number one.
Current spawn.
Yeah, we'll do part 2 next week. I haven't asked Elliot, but I'll volunteer him for it.
There we go.
Don't worry about it. We'll do it next. We'll finish it up next week.
See, I knew Jared would be all about it
It's a good thing.
because he's got nothing.
Thingy spawn description. Yeah.
He's got nothing.
So then I'm going to take the current spawn description
he's
that
gonna
I've
jump
popped.
on
So
it.
popping is like a Pez dispenser. I've pulled it out of the Pez machine and I'm going to use it. I'm going to eat it now.
I will
So
say,
popping's like. Just
I've
like a
enjoyed
Pez.
Yeah,
this.
Pez dispenser. That's how I describe it.
Have a lot of popping Pez dispensers when you were a kid?
Yeah, did you not?
Popping?
Yeah, because you pull the thing down, it pops out. Did it not pop out? No? Was it not meant to pop out?
So it pushes out. You have like some automatic fire Pez dispensers when you're a kid?
Well, what do they say? Tomato, tomato?
you enjoy it because you know
I
me.
don't know what you
Yeah,
guys
but that's
call
fine.
I'm English. I'm British, right? So it's tomato. Yeah.
I hope you.
Anyway,
I
so
hope
I'm
you
going to
make
take
something
the
that we could see though by the end of
the
this.
ship spawn closet manager that
Because the
we
mission
have
sounds
here,
cool.
and I am going to then take the current spawn description that I've taken out, and then I'm going to make another local variable because I'm going to make multiple spawn requests here. Spawn request underscore L. Yeah.
Why are there so many L's?
So I'm going to make multiple spawn requests. So what I need to do is merge them all into one, because the information can, like this node will overwrite every time that input. So I have to make it local, so then I can make them all call
Take
back on
this
one,
L.
so I don't have to make like 1,000 callbacks. Spawn request. This one is going to be called something like NPCs occupying ship. Let's go SR. Yeah, cool. So that's the spawn request for the NPCs. Let me check all this is right. So I pop them. Yep. I then take the managers, and then I pass it in. Cool.
If you don't
Right,
put the
nice,
L there, do
nice,
things
nice.
break?
So this will spawn it. So next up, I need to make sure that I know when the NPCs are here. So I'm gonna right click and get another callback, and it's gonna be.
It's just part of the naming,
on
okay.
The spawn closet spawn, which is this. And essentially, all this one's gonna do is send event to mission instance, like that. And it's going to send the modular request again of AI spawned, because this time it's spawning an actual NPC, like yeah. So I'm going to send that straight back to the thing. Then from there, that's the ship, the occupied ship spawner, I believe, done. So that should spawn a ship and spawn all of the AI on it for me. So the next thing I need to do is now actually build the mission. I've not been building the mission for the past 30 minutes.
He just spawned a ship. That's it.
You stop it.
No, it's.
All he did was just spawn a ship.
There's a thing. People often wonder. You continue to worry about that. There's a thing. People often wonder why we do a show on this or do a show on that. And the number one criteria that I have personally, being in year 9 as I am here, is I ask myself, would anyone else do this? Would BioWare do this as a piece of promotional material? Would Activision or anyone else? And if the answer is no, I'm instantly intrigued by it. Which is one of the things I love about, one of the many things I love about Star Citizen.
I think one of the when I see them ever make one, they have a highly polished GUI for their tools, and they all work flawlessly, and it's like we build our tools for what we need now. They don't have to look pretty, they just have to kind of work.
They don't actually look like the thing that they're showing either. It's always a manufactured thing.
Yeah.
What I liked about this idea of having you do this is to show. We've been talking about the mission manager and the verbs and all this stuff for years now, and I wanted to show that you haven't done any. You're not programming here. The work to this
programming
point
work's already been done.
has been
right?
about building a system, building a modular system that runs through FlowGraph, that runs through all these neat tools like RoboHesi and everything.
I mean, they showed FlowGraph mission making like 7 years ago, though.
To automate a lot of the programming work so that then we can democratize the process of mission creation to dozens and dozens of other developers. So designers who are typically
it only
not
seems like more recently
can come in
they're able to
and
do it quickly.
just focus on being creative. Once they get the handle, the understanding of a select few verbs, they understand the syntax necessary. This goes into this. This goes into this. There's a learning curve. I'm not going to sit here and say there's not a learning curve. We're demonstrating the learning curve here. But this is how
would no one else do this? Now I'm intrigued. Is it just because you've been doing it for 9 years and you want to do something different and he's bored? I don't know, but typically these type of things are not. Here's what I think, and this is what I don't like, and I hope Jared hears this, and I because I kind of understand where he's coming from. Is it almost feels like everything he's doing is for him and not for the audience that you're supplying the product for. If that makes sense. That's the vibe I just got from what he said.
we scale.
Yeah.
This is how we go
And
from.
I don't think that's
well,
good.
if it took you 4 years to make X number of missions, how are you going to populate, another star system with all these missions?
Yeah.
How are you going to populate, 10 star systems with all these missions?
I agree, Tom.
This is how we do it. The game development is exponential.
This isn't a shit on Jared show, but the way he phrased everything he just said makes it seem like, okay, you're choosing the content so you're not bored or because you find it interesting. But what your audience, like he's always defending from the audience who is the person who, who are the people that you're supplying the content to. But your job is to supply the content that your audience wants to hear, listen to, and consume.
It's a lot of the early years is in building this framework, this groundwork, this foundation. Any more synonyms I can think of?
I'm sure he loves
the
what he
thing
does.
under the thing,
Except for today,
where
he wants
it
to play
allows
Baldur's
you
Gate.
to then iterate faster and more efficiently as you go forward. And that's one of the reasons we've been telling the story of the mission manager and everything over and the subsumption over this last year, because it having been here for as long as I have, it's exciting. I'm starting to feel like we're there. I'm starting to feel like we're at that point now where development can begin to scale up and we can start making things faster than we have at any period in the past.
Anyone else heard that before? I hope that's the case. We're still here because we're all hoping that's the case. But I will believe that shit when I see it.
Barring things like
everything. Barring things like everything.
Long-term persistence and everything, pulling that foundation out from under us and having to start over. But so I've been talking through this. We haven't explained this whole part. What are we looking at right here?
It doesn't matter. It doesn't concern them.
Doesn't concern them.
No, I am.
We're not talking about spaceships, Henny.
What's a spaceship?
I don't know.
Never heard of it. I've gone in. I've started building this.
Get an extra drink out of your water. Just opened the lid. This is my water.
So I've started building the main mission. So what I've done here is, once again, I've created a pre-init because the pre-init will stop this from properly like running until the player gets to the location, because there's certain things that I need to find when you get there. So making sure that
Here to see what the community is saying
Making
about
sure
the
that you
PTU
don't-
access change.
the
Guys,
notice loads is
type
pretty
an
vital
emote
to the mission actually working.
Or make a
What I'm
short
doing here is,
statement
again, that's
about
just
how
set
you
that
feel
up.
about
This
PTU access.
is the
for
module
Dabby.
I just made. This is the occupied ship spawner. And I'm passing in the location it needs to care about, the ships I want it to spawn, and the NPCs to populate. And now
So everything you spent the first 20 minutes doing is in that box right there.
is now in that box. And this is how other designers build modular missions. Is I build a lot of these, and then they just do that and plug everything in, and then my stuff just kind of just does a lot of heavy lifting for them, so they don't have to worry about it. So do you? I can't
I'm
spell
looking for an
subdue,
emote.
You know,
I know.
fuck it.
Oh, found one.
You're the one who chose to call it Sub.
Yeah, I know, but it's like I say, it makes sense to be called that. It doesn't mean I can spell it. Subdue target. Okay, cool. So this is going to create an objective that the player can see. Then I'm going to actually mark something so the player knows where to go. And I'm going to use the location OC I put here, so it's actually just on the location. So what I'm doing is I'm going onto my Star Words tool, and I'm grabbing the strings that you didn't do any of this, this is me, that I've made. That I've made here, there we go. And I'm putting in, so so then we have some sort of extra options on some of these like nodes, so I'm gonna display the distance sphere to make sure you know just how far you're going, and it's not just a marker out in space. Yep, so I'm gonna do that, and then I'm gonna do a set subjective oh my god, type display.
Best QA pays to do their job. There you go.
Can't spell.
What do you mean? Jared has been coding this whole time. I'm checking his work.
It's called the buddy system. Or the rubber duck. There's this thing in programming where if you can't figure your logic out, you talk to a rubber duck on your desk, and vocalizing out loud will help you solve your problem. So you remember rubber duck.
I call that David.
You know what? Mine's called David as well. You've made me list my train of thought, David.
Damn it,
Objective
David.
display. Okay, so next up, so the objective display is a fancy word for saying HUD. So this is what's going to display on your HUD. There you go. And I am going to also make it managed per
20
player.
minutes.
So I don't always want to show the HUD. I might want to control it. Next up, I'm going to create a sub-objective. So a sub-objective is going to parent to the objective I've just made. Boom. And this one's going to be called locate, probably. Objective. Or target ship location. Score OBJ. Cool. But this one is going to be hidden from you because I don't want you to see it until you get to the location. And I'm going to take the long string that we built. Stop. They didn't do anything, Elliot. I did. Short. So locate short and long. And then I need to make another mission objective display, but I'm lazy, so I'm not going to retype the node in. I'm just going to take this one from above. And I'm going to get the HUD for locate. And do that with it. However, this one, I need to not respect its inherited visibility. What that means is that, because this is parented to this, and this is not hidden, but this one is, this display would likely not show unless both of these were visible. So I'm going to tell it not to respect its parents and just go off the rails and do what I tell it to. Cool.
Now what?
Next up.
When do we see Void Dude?
Next up, I'm going to show the objective display for one of these for the players because I want them to see this one. So this is going to be the target ship location because again, I'm managing it per player, but I'm also telling it not to respect. By default, it's going to be off. So I need to tell it to be on for all mission players. And we have
He did say disrespect your parents, kids.
And that just means that I type them in, and as long as I spell it right, code links it up, which I spell it wrong instantly. It's mission players.
How many bugs do you think are attributed just to typos?
When it's me, quite a few. I do it all the time. I'm really bad at it. But we try to when we identify there's somewhere that you can type stuff in, we try to fix it because we know it's not a good way of like handling this sort of stuff.
You wish this was zoomed in? Yeah, it is a little bit hard to see.
Cool. Right.
I can't barely read any of it.
Nice. So that's the first part. Sorry, that's the first part.
That's the second first part.
That's the second first part. Next up, I need to get a reference to the action area where I'm going to spawn them. So I'm going to do well, first I need to filter the action area. Set action area filter. Pull. This
I think Elliot
this node set action area filter
has set
exists
back
for a reason.
This game at least 10 years.
Because an action area is a volume in anywhere
With this
that will
typos.
detect when things have overlapped with it. And the issue that we used to have, and again, this is us like, hey, there's a problem here, and then sort of fixing it. The issue we used to have is that we could detect everything. When I was building Siege of Horizon, I used to crash because my action area detected a sprig of mint that was on the bartender's drink enter my action area. So this filter thing, I requested quite heavily, and we got it so that I can make sure that mint doesn't enter my action area and break my game. So I'm going to filter for anything that's human controlled, which means that I control it, you control it, if you who is watching is a human.
Get some F's in chat for Sprig of Mint.
Mission area. So now I need to get the mission location action area. So I filtered it, so I have to filter it before I get it, or else the filter doesn't apply. So I filtered it, and now I've got it, so it's gonna...
I've lost interest, though.
I've got all the fucking errors I shouldn't have... No. Yeah, so
I will say
that will now filter down my action area, which now means I get to make how much? 40? I've got 20 minutes left, my God.
Don't worry about it. We'll come back next week if we have to.
Yeah. So now I need to...
The wonderful thing about SCL is that it never
Shut
ends.
up and react. I'm trying.
There's always another Friday. There's always another Friday I have to fill, Elliot.
I have to make missions. Which one of us is in the worst boat? Your videos work. They go out.
True.
Self-burn. Those are rare.
I want to say something so badly.
Say it.
Okay.
Say it.
Right, so I'm making the action area
background music
callback
is
for
not
on
helping.
entered and on exit.
It
for,
is
again,
not.
human-controlled things, which is good, but I still need to do a form of filtering. So,
It's the droney music.
on exit, I'm going to tell the player to come back to the area. However, I don't want to tell them to come back if the target's already been found, because if the target's found, they might as well just always have that marker because they're always going to know that information. So I need to make a entity tracker, which I will use a valid callback to know if the target's in here. So this is going to be called target ET. Cool. Is entity tracker empty? So this is me checking to see if the target has been put in this variable. And then I'm going to check to see if the person who's come in here is a mission player. So if it is empty
took your date
and
to the planetarium music.
person,
It
the person
is.
who's left,
And it's super dark.
then I'm going to add them back to an objective marker. So I'm going to add them back, the exited entity, to the subdue target marker. So that will be the marker that's like in the search area. Then when they come back in the area, actually, so I don't have to retype, I'm just going to copy these two nodes. So when they come back in the area, I'm going to make sure that the target once again is valid, and then I'm going to do a bunch cleanup. So remove objective marker. Where's my node? I bet it's remove player from. Yeah, it is. Cool. So this is gonna remove because they might have. I mean, even if they've exited and come back, I always need to make sure that this doesn't exist on them. This marker. So I'm gonna remove it. I'm also then gonna show objective display for players. This is gonna turn HUD on. So I'm gonna put the subdue one on for the entered entity. So the person. No, I'm gonna turn this one off because this is the one that's already on their screen. Yes. 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 Yes.
G. Kenny says, Jared, can you do an ISC about issue council? We did. It was super popular.
It was not.
Everybody was really happy with it. And the comments were really positive.
That's pretty much all of his ISCs for the last 9 months.
Right. Carrying on. I'm also gonna show that hidden objective, the one that's the locate, because you're in the area now, so you need to find them. Again, this is only if the target hasn't already been found, which is what that'll attack track. So I am gonna check the target ship location and do that for the entered entity. True, so they're both on. That's all cool. So this is gonna player enters it. The marker to go there goes away. The HUD that was there goes away, and it comes up with locate, and then it will show the objective in the mobile as well. So you'll see like locate void dude, and then kill him. Next up is an event. So this event is one that's going to be that I've sent. So if you remember, I talked about those modular events in my other module. I'm going to register here and listen for it, because you have to listen to them, or else they kind of just get sent into the void and you never hear them. Where have I put the modular? They're all over. Modular events. Where's mission modules? Mission modules, modular missions. My God, my naming thing is horrible. Modular events, AI spawned.
Naming conventions. They have undone so many aspects of many, many games over the years. I would wager that most.
Oh yeah,
many. I don't know if most, but a not insignificant number of AAA games have had naming convention revamps during the course of their development. Just this, okay, we got to fix this. Like, we were naming it. It worked when the game was this big, and now the game's this big. And
if I sub to you, can I get earlier access to your streams? Yes. And you can even get access to sub-only streams.
We've got to completely redo the structure.
Pretty crazy.
Then some 10.
But if you donate me $25,000, you also get access to my streams. Pretty interesting.
The director leaves and somebody else comes in and goes, "Oh, well, this naming convention is garbage," and they have to go through and they redo it again. Naming conventions are. I have many traumas in my life.
Yeah.
Naming conventions are one of them.
You want to know the worst? I mean, apart from naming convention, the worst thing I've done is not linked a node like that, and then booted the game, and then like waited for it to boot, got in, and then been like, "Fuck, I didn't link my nodes."
Yes.
That's even worse.
Now, I want to stress that the reason that is so bad, like, oh well, that doesn't seem so bad. It's because in its raw state, in the raw state where you're not on the big servers and everything, it takes about 20 to 30 minutes to boot a local version of the server and client. So
guess what? It takes about 20 or 30 minutes to boot one on the in the real game too. We've experienced
when
that.
you have done this part, and then you go to boot your local to see if it's working to the point, and you realize you've wasted that 20 to 30 minutes you were waiting because of a single line missing. That's why that's so tragic.
Yeah. And the worst part is if you pull like your lead coder over because it isn't working, you've not noticed that line. Maybe because you like zoomed all the way out and the lines are like tiny and you're showing another bit of logic. He's like, well, you didn't, what's that over there? And you zoom all the way in, and he's like, and you're like, thanks, Dave.
Yeah, it's 20 minutes, but they don't have to take a tram.
Control all.
So
one mono 1/4-inch audio cable.
Yeah. So next up, I am going to set up the objective marker that's on the ship. However, because of that whole thing where I want it to be scanned for, I'm going to make this objective marker exist, but not truly exist.
I thought we
Because
already
if I give it a
did
null
that.
item, it means that you won't see it in game until I tell it to show. And I'm going to tell it to show after.
This
after
is
you
when
found
we
it.
get
So
there.
This is, again, going back to the module.
This is the one that actually sticks on the ship and stays with them and is always like updating where it is. The other one is the one on the location. I don't like that there's two. I wonder if is there a way to only have one, and would it be like more efficient?
Tools we build, I'm going to place another one down here that is called Find Object by Radar, another one we've built, which basically you pass in the ship that you care about, so the AI spawned, you pass in the objective that has the marker on it because it will turn it on for you, and I leave this to true. So what this will do is it will detect everywhere you can find a ship via a radar. Now, everywhere you can find a ship via a radar is passive scan, which is it just pops up on your little radar on your ship.
Doesn't have a location.
There's something called blob, and then there's actual scanning. Cool. So,
Hey, one of them is called this. One of the mission variables is called this, guys. Do you see that?
Show objective. So then, okay, cool, right, nice. So next thing I'm doing here is I am just making sure that the objective is definitely existing for the mission players. In case there's been any way it can sort of get around it, which is that. So what you sort of missed here was I am checking the AI spawned, and I'm checking to see if it has a tag of ship, because then I know that the thing is spawned is a ship. Because if you remember when I built the module, I used the modular AI spawn for both the ship and the NPCs.
Yeah.
So that's why I've done that, so I can filter it, because then I know if it's not a ship, then the only other thing it could be is an actual like NPC AI that's on board it. So I'm going to build another separate entity tracker here, which is going to do a like a global sort of collect. So this is going to be all occupiers. So this is going to track all of them, and then I'm going to do something called compare Boolean. And I'm going to check for a Boolean that I'm going to make, which is kind of going into that, like, how do other designers use this? How are they going to pass all this information? I've got 10 minutes left. How are they going to track all this information? Oh, thank you.
Sorry, don't worry about the 10 minutes.
Yeah, how are they going to track all this information? Like, how are they going to pass it in? How are they going to tell me what they want? And this is sort of pre-prepping for what I know in my mind I'm going to give them tool-wise. So I'm going to do a thing where I detect if they've given me a target tag, which means they've said this specific AI, I want to be the target, compared to say grab random. Compare.
It's different when you have to talk through the entire thing, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a lot quicker when I don't have to tell anyone what I'm doing. But this is fun, right? We're all having fun.
No, I'm very happy. I'm very happy. This is exactly what I had hoped the stream would be. You're doing a good job.
Hey.
He's being
so
honest.
The next thing I'm doing is I'm
Jared's
checking
not fucking
that
around
thing
in
that I
that
give the designer
scenario.
to. So I check
I think
to see
he's
if
actually telling the
an
truth.
identifier tag, which is what a designer can set, has the tag of target. So then I know that they've
We expect
specifically
you to
given me a
summarize
target,
this later today.
which is this stuff. So
Bad developer makes bad mission. Mission doesn't work.
what's going to happen is every AI that spawns is going to pass through here, and it's going to constantly go through. And if this has been set to true, it's going to check every single one of them. Is this got the identifier tag of target? And then if it has, that's where I can, sorry, 1 second. That's where I can go through and make sure that I pass the correct AI into the mission. So add entities to not proximity tracker to spawn. I've lost my node. You know what? I haven't lost it. It's right there.
Friendship is still the best ship in Star Citizen.
I think
Hear that, John Crew?
this is why
It's friendship. You know, I got
patches get
murdered by
delayed.
Darklaw on live. He just murdered me, and I checked his stream, and he was just sat there like this. Like it was the easiest thing ever, and he killed an entire SIG dev team, and just like then walked away.
Darklaw's pretty good though.
Player or morally?
No, player.
Okay.
Not morally.
Because then we popped in his chat. I was like, you know, you just killed me, and I'm not gonna try a Scottish accent or whatever. But he was like, I didn't know.
that was pretty good.
Darklaw, you're a jerk. And you can clip that and use it on your stream.
There you go.
Cool. Next up, right?
You're getting all
so I'm gonna
the
set an
streamers
object.
today.
So I've added the target, which the AI spawned to the target list, and now I'm going to make a variable to also store the target as an object. Target underscore oh. Voila. And then I am likely going to also convert, I think, the target to.
Nobody is safe when Elliot's around.
I'll do that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah. No, we're good.
I'm trying to think through what I'm doing. So, next up, knocked out. So, if, because it's subdue, it means that I need to track if they've been knocked out, subdued. I'm gonna make a
K-Wix or
callback
Quicks, thank
on
you.
Entity tracker.
And that's because right now the only way to subdue somebody is to knock them out. We don't have the additional bounty hunter stuff. Put them in stasis or put handcuffs on them, stuff like that.
So, sounds like Jared knows what's coming.
Making missions for a game that's still in active development is you make them for the
Sounds
tools
like Jared knows what's
features
coming.
that are available now.
Yes, we
all know those things are coming.
Sometimes it's like you're shoehorning things in. And sometimes most of the time you're always just trying to get that feeling for what it's going to end up like, because you want it to play as close as it can, and then fix up.
Guys, you know the GIF of Jerry that used to work at CIG? That's like, I don't know what I'm doing. That GIF, we can remake that GIF with this footage, but for Elliot.
When it comes to later. So admission, what I'm doing here is that you've knocked the target out, so Void Dude had a target on him to tell you to go knock him out.
Yeah.
So now I need to remove that marker because the delivery marker is going to take over and tell you to go deliver the guy.
Right. You don't want to still have a find Void Dude marker
exactly
sitting there knocked out in your ship.
And then what I'm doing here is I'm adding the mission as the owner of Void Dude because we have a lot of cleanup things in our game to obviously clean shit out of the world that doesn't need to exist. And when you kill an AI, it does
like
that. And if you were to leave the area, the AI should be cleaned up. But because this is a mission critical item, we don't want Void to be cleaned up. We want it to
need
stay.
A full Kawaku emote suite. We
so
already
next up,
do.
Again, another module.
Relax,
this is
we
one of the
already
delivery
do.
modules that I think was about
He has like 4
20
here.
minutes into that rant I did on the ISC.
Well, 20 minutes into the version they saw.
True.
And the version I had to sit through, it was like 45.
What can I say? I like what I do.
You know, it's despite what's his name, whoever it was, I don't remember now. You know,
Lars, I think.
these shows, the reason I can sit back, the reason I can literally kick back, put my feet up, my VHS shoes and whatnot, is because Elliot is one of those people that I trust implicitly. He's proven himself time and time again. He knows his stuff. Not spelling, but this isn't a spelling bee here. And I don't have to hold his hand. I don't have to guide him through the conversation, through anything else. I can just sit here and I can let him steer the ship, which is nice every once in a while.
There you go.
I can say nice things about people. It happens.
Sometimes. It's rare, Jared,
I
but you
can feel
do
the
it.
heat radiating from over there. Just say nice things. Jared didn't say nice things.
So what
Every
I've done
once in
here,
a
I've
while
just
he
filled in
does.
some of the nodes that I need to fill in on the delivery module that I'm going to call. And
I can tell you this. Jared is impossible, and I think he does it on purpose. He makes it impossible to tell if he... Like, you can't tell if he likes you. You can't tell if he's a fan of you, and I think he does it on purpose to just keep you in this, like, I don't know, place with him. Like, I think I've interacted with Jared in terms of content creation stuff at this point more than probably many, if not all of the streamers and YouTubers at this point. Because I've done more events with him than anybody's done. And I've been around the longest for the people that have done things. Meyer's only done 1, I've done 2.
I'm doing a thing called stop proximity tracker
Yeah.
because I want, when you go
On camera, yeah, in person, you know when you're friends with him easy, though. Yeah, I think for me, just because of the way I I don't know if I am anymore, but him and I have had some
Go to the ship.
good
The
conversations
issue is,
back
the
in the
issue
day.
that I see, which is that whole imperfect
I
situation.
love Jared. It may
that
sound like I
exists,
don't sometimes.
Is
I just don't like the content. But the person is a great guy.
you'll know where they are roughly, so you can kind of guess what floor to go to, and that makes for the experience that I don't want you to have. I don't want you to know and go
Except
straight
when he's
to it,
not.
because that's
That's the
boring.
only
I want
thing.
it
It's
to
like
be
when
somewhat of a challenge for you because
he
you
comes
got
off
brains, right? You can think for yourself.
the wrong way
so
a lot of the time.
Find them. Use your eyes.
Wait,
And then
the views
people
and
think that
opinions
he's
of Elliot
not.
Maltby do not
That's what
represent
it
those
is.
of Platyperium Games or
He gets too much shit that he deserves.
I'm just a designer, a games designer.
You sounded
I
like
clicked
my
control
mom.
blessing and I
Well,
didn't mean to.
your mom has to justify love. Our parents have to justify loving us, even though they might be annoyed by us, right? I guess I don't know. But what's up, Jared? I really enjoyed this show, but I wonder if it's because of Elliot.
Jared just said all the other developers
'Cause I
are
love Elliot,
incompetent.
too.
No, I said being able to communicate effectively on a live TV show without your head exploding from anxiety and brain detritus is
Yeah.
not a skill that every human being in the world has.
Dude, Jared might remember this. Remember Gamescom 2016? They interviewed us for some I think it was still around the verse at the time. The moment you put I could sit here in front of way more people than we did. We were streaming to probably way more people than I think would have even seen a part of that episode for me. You put the camera in front of my face, I shit my pants.
I barely have it.
I was so nervous.
There was touch and go there for a little while. Towards the beginning, like there's a moment about like 7 minutes in where it happens.
Is that where you held my hand?
Yes,
So now you're now nervous because you felt the sweat.
I felt it. I felt the sweat.
So what I've just done quickly here is I've made a modular, so that we have this event called
Really,
the
Corgi?
modular
Jeez.
mission objective event.
That's some
and
anxiety.
this is basically, has this module I've built completed its core objective? So in this case, this is going to be the delivery objective, calling back, telling me it's done. So I'm going to check just to make sure the player's completed it. And then after that, I'm going to complete the mission because you've done your work there. That's it, right?
Notice
yeah,
Jared was
complete.
here, but
Nice, good, easy.
but still didn't answer if he likes me or not.
Real easy one. Next up,
We'll never know.
we have the ship. So the ship spawned, we have a ship. I've converted it to a ship reference purely so I can get this callback, which is on object entered.
Which callback?
This allows me
This
to know
callback.
when you, the player, has entered the ship. And then from here, I can do that, do the thing where I take all your markers away and like let you use your eyes to go and hunt for them. However, I'll give you that hand of the proximity tracker to sort of guide you through. So place to remove.
Proximity tracker.
Entered person, nice. And I'm gonna remove you from the target ship location. Set mission, objective display. So now I'm gonna put on an objective display which is telling you to subdue Void Dude. Yep, so I need to find my string for it. Give me 2 seconds, which is this, boom. So this is gonna say like locate and subdue target name, which would then dynamically resolve to Void Dude.
Don't take my scented markers away. When I was in grade school, we had a pencil machine. You put a quarter in.
Dude, I thought he was going to say what I experienced. When I was in grade school, there was a girl who ate all the scented markers. She's now lead developer at CIG.
Turn it and give you 2 pencils, and the pencils smelled. And they smelled like different things, like fruit smells.
You had to pay for pencils?
Everything comes full circle. It all
It's a
makes
different
sense
time.
now.
It's capitalism.
Oh, was this when pencils was just invented? Because
It's
you used chalkboards before, right?
No, I don't know what happened to her. I wonder where
I'm
she
a bit
is today.
old, but not that old.
You won't be seeing me
Pencils
on the
were-
next ICL.
No. Yeah, come back and finish this. Yeah, you come back and finish this, then we gotta play it and see how well you did.
Oh God.
But somebody remembers the smelly pencils, right? It's not just me.
No, yeah, I do.
Smelly pencils.
Let's see.
And
All
crayons.
right. Well, actually, we're at about 5 o'clock. So where's a good place to wrap this up?
I literally, after I finish this node, done.
All right, so what did we just do? Where are we at now?
So so when you get to the ship now, I am going to take away the markers. I'm going to put a HUD display that says, please find Void Dude and to subdue him. And then I'm going to start a proximity tracker. The proximity tracker is just how close am I to them. So when you're within 10 meters, I'll mark them. And this can be played with, so like if 10 meters isn't right, I'll up it to 15 and so on and so forth.
Ah, okay, cool,
and then, there's a bunch of next steps after this, but we're nearly there.
Yeah. So what we'll do? What are you doing next Friday?
I mean, working. Hopefully from Manchester. I'm off home for a few days, but we'll have to work that out.
All right. So we'll see if we can do next Friday. Whatever. Bring it back and then play the mission because I really like to get in there and see this work.
Yep. Yeah. Same.
All right. Meet you over that camera. Hi, everybody. So that's been Star Citizen Live Game Dev Mission Maker. I'm not the mission maker. He's the mission maker. That was Elliot. Good job, man. We've been doing game dev shows for
Dude, he carried
6 years or so now. We've
Elliot never stopped
actually,
talking.
You know, it's impossible to make anything for Star Citizen in an hour.
Yeah.
But I think it's always important to demonstrate process, to show, especially this, the big victory of this system is that it has opened the process of making missions to people other than programmers. You know, there's this perception, there's this mentality that you have to be a programmer in order to make games.
Yeah.
You don't.
No.
Certain aspects of it, sure.
Yes.
But you know, part of the game development is making these tools, making subsumption.
Hasn't Flowgraph been around forever, though? Like, this isn't like a monumental thing for CIG, is it? But Elliot pointed out that Tony Z made this thing.
Making Robo-Hesse, making Star Wars, so that just other people who can follow instructions and can learn syntax, understand it can build these things, and that's how we scale up to the big immersive precision
Bebop, didn't I
universe
ban you in
we're
Discord?
Yeah.
Before we go, we're gonna raid somebody. We haven't raided anybody in a while. CLX, which is a maker of custom PCs, are actually in the process, if I'm not mistaken, they should be live now, are currently building a PC for Atmo
That's
Esports,
right.
which is one of the esports organizations in the Star Citizen universe. They're going to be on with our own Jake. Let me check the name. Jake Bradley, who is apparently somebody who works here. He is on that stream.
You guys ever hear of him?
Say hi to Jake.
Never heard of him.
Hi, Jake.
And take care, everybody. We'll see you here next week. Bye.
That's cool. Nice. But they must have finished already because Jake's here. Because he's in chat now. But that's not Jake Bradley. That's Jake Acapella. Two different people. I've never seen Jake Bradley and Jake Acapella in the same room at the same time. So, that's it for SEL. I think, as always, game dev SELs are really tough. I was literally falling asleep at one point. But it's not because of... I think it was more because of the music than anything. Because the conversation was good. Elliot was carrying. It was great. But... those are tough, man. Those are tough. I think when it comes down to, and I think Jared's right, which is why we need a second part. I think when it comes down to seeing the finished product or finished, right? Like the prototype where you can go in and maybe see all the little nodes turn into something, it'll be a lot cooler. Because once you saw the first set of nodes, I was like, all right, this is interesting. And then he did another one, and then he did another one, and I was like, all right, I can't look at this anymore. The text was really hard to read, and it was a little tough to get through, but it was also cool to listen to the back and forth. So, yeah. Mate, my life is placing nodes. Yeah. So it must, but at the same time, like, a little bit more of, like, you can explain to us what it turns into, but you could probably visualize what those things turn into, right? A little bit. I think you did a good job of me understanding, like, I'm placing this marker, and then especially for the marker things, I'm like, oh, I know that marker, right? Like, so it's the marker of the location, but then when you get down to, like, the cave or the the bunker. It's like the marker changes. I was like, oh, so this is what does all that. So that it is cool to see the process. I'm not knocking that at all, but man, there's so much other stuff we could talk about. Like just even the minor things that are coming in 320 that are not related to CitizenCon, that I would just I would find so much more interesting. But that's just me. You know, we're all different people. I can see so many people enjoying this episode, though, in comparison to other game dev ones. I think other game dev ones get a little dry, even though they might be a little bit more visual. So, yeah. But that was that. So, SCL in the books.